Namaste, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It is the finale of season 2, episode 12 of JumpBall. Yes, it is finally here, and guess what else is here after 26 years since, for the first time since 1999, it is the Knicks and the Spurs back in the NBA Finals. Let's get right into it without wasting much time. Game 1 starts off today in San Antonio, and I am going to be rolling with the San Antonio Spurs in 6 in this matchup. Why do I say that? Let's get into it. Starting off, let's look at the Knicks' postseason so far. I mean, the toughest battle for them so far was probably in the first round. They took down the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games. After that, 4-0 sweep of the 76ers, where the process is still processing. Daryl Morey's fired. Uh, Podcast P is still there, and amongst a lot of different other things. And then you moved on to Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals once that 22-point deficit got, you know, handled in a sense in Madison Square Garden. It was a wrap since then. By the time the Cavs went to Cleveland, even the fans really didn't have hope on the squad, and I don't blame them. And that's how it has fared so far out in the East. Respectfully, it's hard because Eastern Conference does have more championships, whether you want to believe it or not. Turns out Eastern Conference so far has 41 championships compared to the 38 in the West. So I mean, if you want to call Eastern Conference weak, you can, but it's probably gotten weakened in the last quarter century, let's say, or maybe the last 50 years, because they were, the standards in the beginning. Now the standards have switched, and talk about switching, the game has completely switched. These baby Spurs, I believe their average age is about 22, 23. Yes, unfortunately, that is younger than me. And unfortunately for me, not for them. And it has been phenomenal. No matter how many times I want to deny them, no matter how many times other people want to deny them, hey, they are young, they are this or they are that. They have been stepping up to the moments. And why I give them the benefit of the doubt compared to the Knicks, who I don't believe have been challenged, at least like physically, mentally, in how the playoffs should be. I feel like, maybe they have, turned it up to a notch and they're playing at such a high level that Eastern Conference just looked washed out. But this Western Conference team in the San Antonio Spurs is going to keep on testing them. And, if the Knicks are to be champions, they are going to be pushed to it. And they're going to have to come out on top. Maybe I am wrong. And maybe it is go New York, go. Orange and blue skies all summer long. And New York City is going to go up in flames. I do not have any problem with that. I have no horses in the race. I do have, links to both sides in terms of I am a Warriors fan, as everybody knows. Mike Brown, a former assistant for the Warriors, won a championship with us. On the other side, it is San Antonio Spurs, where, Steve Kerr does have some links. Mitch Johnson, going back to '05 to '09, Stanford with the Lopez brothers. So there is, Bay Area links on both sides. Outside of that, we still do have HP, so I guess 2-1 Spurs win. If kind of had to make a picker choice. Now let's get into the players. How I had seen this matchups going so far. HB and Alvarado, they're gonna match up against each other. Why do I say that? Veteran, cheerfuls, and energy guys. That is all that they get. Maybe they get 10 minutes into the game, but most of the time they're the veterans in the bench, kind of getting the energy right in the bench for those guys. If need be, they will get in there, but more often than not, if they have to get in there, it's really, not really because the game's going well. So you probably, just want them on the bench, but solid pieces. Keldon Johnson and OG Anunoby. People keep on talking about OG being the difference for the Knicks. Keldon Johnson has a similar body type, and he was a sixth man of the year. He is, to a degree, an emotional leader. Like we have seen those one-on-ones with Wemby before games. Um, so yeah, and he's been there from when the Spurs were down. Now they're all the way up. He is going to try to push those boys all the way through. Stephon Castle and Mikal Bridges. Everybody talks about Mikal Bridges' length. Yes, he has length, I do believe, of a 7-footer, but Stephon Castle is 6'6". He can get under you, and he is a pretty decent guard. He is not as big just yet. He is still very young, so he is going to get bigger and better. But they can't cancel each other out points wise. So Keldon John or Stephon Castle is number two, I do believe, leading the Spurs outside of Wemby. So he is there, up there. Outside of that, then you got De'Aaron Fox against Jalen Brunson. I'm not saying in terms of scoring. I do believe Brunson's about 27, 28 points. Like Fox is not matching up there in terms of scoring, but a lefty who can stay in front of you, he is really good defensively as well. Let's go back and watch UCLA Lonzo Ball versus Kentucky Swiper. He is, still, he might be hurt, but he's still pushing through. He is giving double-digit points, so it's not just his offense, his defense, his veteran leadership. All of that is going to play a factor. If he hits his threes, I feel like that opens it up for the Spurs completely. And then you move on to Julian Champagnie, another factor nobody's talking about. He's given Spurs, I want to say, 20 points, 30 points in some games. He is going to be, similar to Jordan Clarkson, come off the bench, give you those 3-pointers, whether it's from the corner, from the sides. But Champagnie can also play defense. Clarkson, can he play defense? Yes, he can. Can he get exploited on defense as well? Yes, he can. So, there's a give and take there. Talking about defense, got to talk about the heart, the wing defense, and the emotional leader in Devin Vassell and Josh Hart on both sides. Um, yeah, if you keep on looking at the ride between, or the ride for the Spurs, it has been Devin Vassell kind of right next to Vic the whole time. So, and then there's the same thing with Jalen Brunson and his Villanova boy in Josh Hart. So they have those similar relationships there. Both guys play emotionally outside, and the 3 and D guys, essentially kind of like how Iggy was for us. I always keep on connecting everybody to the Warriors, but it is what it is. And then Dylan Harper, he is, a young backup guard in a sense, but he has shown that he is not really a backup. He has already shown his moments. He does have, I want to say, as a rookie, 13 points in these playoffs, which is phenomenal. He is showing his top five pick worth. I have him compared to McBride, the backup guard. I give the air quotes, but they're really, they can be a starter in most teams. So you know, they give a dynamic aspect. Let's call them dynamic guards rather than backup guards. And then you have Luke Cornett. This is where backup comes into play. He is a backup center. He's trying to get you rebounds. He's trying to neutralize the minutes of Mitchell Robinson, really. So when Mitchell Robinson comes in to try to, get into Vic's body, try to keep him off the glass, you take Vic out. You can put in Luke Cornett. He's not really giving you points, but if he just stays in front of him, just if he fouls Mitchell Robinson, hack him Mitchell Robinson. I mean, it goes back to San Antonio, it goes back to Pop, who that factor of it all we are going to get into, and then Carter Bryant, another young dynamic. You want to call him power forward, center, whatever you want to call him. I have him linked up with Landry Shamet. Why do I say that? Because the energy, the effort that Landry Shamet brought in the last series, I think that actually provided a spark to kind of finish out, the Cavs even faster and easier than it could have been. And then you have the big men. You have Cat, you have Wemby, the difference makers. Um, Going back to the 99 series, you had Larry Johnson and Patrick Ewing, but on the other side, you had a David Robinson and a young Tim Duncan. And in this one, Wemby is a mix of both Tim Robinson, Timmy, and David Robinson. And then on the other side, Cat can be a mix of Larry Johnson in the drive, in the paint, and the 3-point ability of Patrick Ewing. But just like last time, unfortunately for the New York Knicks, I see them coming just a little bit short. I can't deny it. It is the time upon Wemby. Another thing, the road that I mentioned for the Knicks, how possibly easy it might have been for me. On the other side, for the Spurs, they have gone through the gauntlet. They went through another eerie thing from 1999 playoff run. They went through Portland in the first round. They went through, Minnesota in the second round, the physical battle that Wemby had, the elbow to Naz Reid, let's not forget, and then a 7-game series to vanquish, in a sense, Chet, like completely. The conversations around Chet right now is because of the way that Wemby pretty much dominated him, not just on the court but off the court mentally. And then you have now all in the finals against the Knicks with a big man. Now this time around they do have a killer guard, but you do have some probably a deeper guard and wing options as well. it is a very phenomenal matchup. I am so glad these two teams are here. Respect to OKC, but going back to again with the Warriors, back-to-back MVP in the 2016 finals. Once Draymond kind of got neutralized by a lot of different factors. In Game Seven, everybody was on fumes. LeBron James pushed them over the top, and that greatness showed. If it goes down to 7 games, if it goes down to 6 games, and Jalen Brunson's greatness overshadows everybody else, I have zero questions crowning him, and he is going to be the king of New York. But on the other side, you do have an alien that affects both sides of the court, and you do have the master manipulator in the back end in Coach Pop. Everybody talks about all the legends that Knicks have around. Respect to them, but on the other side, you do have legends who actually stay in San Antonio. Staying in New York is a lot easier than staying in San Antonio. From access standpoint to everything else, all these legends stay in San Antonio. They support the Spurs. And even when it is not really a San Antonio legend in a sense, Rashard Lewis, he is in player development behind the scenes for all these guys that I mentioned, Julian Champagny, Keldon Johnson, Carter Bryant. All these guys are gonna, Devin Vassell, Stephon Cass. All these guys have that body type of Rashard Lewis, where he is gonna help them out. He has helped them out, and the development has shown. And you can't really discount the growth. Yes, their age is very little, but the information age of today is very, very fast. People download information a lot faster. Our brains are working at a very different speed. Um, we are accessing, information a lot faster and a lot easier compared to before. So, hey, from the physical aspect, I mean, yes, they have played 3 or 4 more games. So, is the attrition going to start wearing in on our young squad? Possibly. But at the same time, when you just talk about the Wemby and Chet revenge in a sense. You got to think about Wemby internalizing that, going back to the in-season tournament where the Knicks won. The banner never rose up. I mean, it's either going to be revenge on one side for the Spurs to get that back, or it's going to be time for New York to raise that banner finally. Like I mentioned, if it goes to 6, if it goes to 7, does not matter. Well, I am picking the Spurs in 6, but without a dog in the fight, it does not matter. We just want a very, very, very good series, and it's going to be historic regardless. So right after that, we do have the World Cup coming up. So stay tuned for the football frenzy coming up. Um, go back and catch up on the Champions League final. Stay tuned for like I mentioned, more football frenzy coming up. Yeah, and go catch up on all the jump off from this season if you want to. Yeah, I hope you guys have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous summer. Let's get down to business. Spurs, Knicks, NBA Finals.